Book of Heaven, Volume 7. 4th to the 18th of May 1906. Page 11 to 15. May 4, 1906. Fears and Tears of the Soul. Jesus asks her to be more precise in writing. I was very afflicted for not having seen my adorable Jesus clearly, with the addition that my thought was telling me that Jesus, he who is my life, did not love me any more. Oh, God, what mortal pains my poor heart felt! I did not know what to do to free myself from this. I shed bitter tears, and to free myself I said, "He does not love me any more?" And out of spite that he does not love me any more, I will love him more than before. I wrote this to obey. Then, after much hardship, he came, bearing my tears on his face. I did not understand well why, but it seemed to me that since that thought had excited me and almost irritated me into loving him more, pleased with it, he would almost say to me, "What? I do not love you. I love you so much that I keep an account even of your tears, and I bear them on my face for my pleasure." Then, afterwards, he added, "My daughter, I want you to be more precise, more exact, and to manifest everything in writing, because you skip many things, even though you take them for yourself without writing them. But many things will serve others." On hearing this, I remained confused because, in truth, I do this, and my repugnance to write is so great, that only the miracles that obedience can do could conquer me, since of my own will I would not be good at writing a single comma. May everything be for the glory of God and to my confusion. May 6, 1906. God is food and life of the soul. Continuing in my usual state, blessed Jesus came for just a little with a loaf of bread in his hand, as if he wanted to refresh me, for I feel so ill because of his continuous privations that it seems that a mere thread of life keeps me alive, and that I would be reduced to ashes and consumed under this thread. Then, after he refreshed me with that bread, he told me, "My daughter, the material bread is food and life for the body, and there is no particle of the body which does not receive life from that bread. In the same way, God is food and life of the soul, and there must be no particle which does not take life and food from God. That is, animating all of oneself in God, nourishing one's desires in God, and making one's affections, inclinations and love take life and food in God, in such a way as to enjoy no other food but God alone. But, oh, how many let their souls feed on all sorts of filth." Having said this, he disappeared, and I found myself inside a church, and it seemed that various people were saying, curse you," as if they wanted to curse the blessed Lord and also creatures themselves. I don't know how, I comprehended all the weight of those maledictions, as though they signified the destruction of God and of themselves, and I cried bitterly because of these maledictions. Then I saw a priest celebrating at the altar, as if he were our Lord, and coming into the midst of those who had uttered those maledictions, he said with a solemn and authoritative voice, "Maledicti, maledicti," at least 20 times or more. And while he was saying this, it seemed that many thousands of people would drop dead, some from revolutions, some from earthquakes, some in the fire, some in the water. It seemed to me that these chastisements were the precursors of nearing wars. I cried, and he, drawing near me, told me, "My daughter, do not fear, for I am not cursing you. On the contrary, I say to you, Benedicta, thousands and thousands of times. Cry and pray for these peoples." May 7, 1906. Jesus does not want to go out of the interior of Luisa. This morning, after I received communion, I saw blessed Jesus in my interior and I said to him, "My beloved, come out from inside. Come outside, that I may clasp you, kiss you and speak with you." And he, making a sign with his hand, told me, "My daughter, I do not want to come out. I am well within you, because if I go out of your humanity, a humanity which contains tenderness, compassion, weakness, concern, it would be as if I went out of my living humanity. In fact, since you occupy my same office of victim, I should make you feel the weight of the pains of others, and therefore spare them. I will go out, yes, but not from within you. Rather, from within God without a humanity, and my justice will make its course as appropriate to chastise the creatures." And it seemed he would go deeper and deeper inside. I repeated to him, "Lord, come out, spare your children, your very members, your images." And he, making a sign with his hand, repeated, "I am not coming out, I am not coming out." He repeated this quite a few times, and he communicated to me many things about what humanity contains, but I am unable to say them. I have them in my mind, but I cannot express them with words. I would rather have not written this, but obedience did not want it. Fiat, always fiat. May 15, 1906. The soul is like a sponge. If she squeezes herself, she becomes soaked with God. Continuing in my usual state, I felt an extreme affliction because of the privation of blessed Jesus, and I was almost tired and my strengths exhausted. Now, he made himself seen for just a little in my interior, and told me, "My daughter, it is a continuous squeezing of herself that the soul must do. In fact, the soul is like a sponge. If she squeezes herself, she becomes soaked with God, and by becoming soaked with God, she feels the life of God within herself, and therefore love for virtue and holy inclinations. She feels herself conquered and transformed in God, while if she does not squeeze herself, she remains soaked with herself, and therefore she feels all the effects which a corrupted nature contains, and all vices peep out: pride, envy, disobedience, impurity, etc., etc. May 18, 1906. The soul suffers while Jesus sleeps. I was feeling very much in suffering, soul and body, to the point that I myself don't know how I live, when I saw blessed Jesus, for just a little, resting and sleeping in my interior. I called him, I pulled him, but he would not listen to me. Then, after much hardship, he told me, "My beloved, do not want to disturb my rest. Do you not tell me that you want to suffer in my place, and that you want to suffer in your humanity everything which I would suffer in my humanity if it were living, intending to relieve my suffering members through your sufferings, by suffering yourself so as to leave me free? So, while you suffer, I rest." And while he was saying this, he fell asleep more soundly, and he disappeared. What he said to me are my continuous intentions in my sufferings.